What's up, everybody? It's your boy Fishlocker the 96 Hedgehog here with our new draft analysis, and it is a draft analysis for the Democratic People's Republic of Mons, aka the DPRoM. Yeah, it's definitely a mouthful, but we're here for our new league, and it's very exciting. But if you guys are excited, if you like, haven't already, subscribe if you're new, join the Fishlocker crew today because you'll be familiar with the king of the crew. With that, let's break down this team breakdown. First off, I want to state that we have two teams here: one that is the original team and one that is the new team. So, with that being said, I'm going to kind of talk about why the original team was it was, and then explain the transactions I made for the grace period, and then discuss the new team that I have set in stone. Excuse me. And to also officially kind of give out this one rule that we're going to have every single week. So, first off, I actually got the number one pick in the Scizor division, which was the upper division, which is nice. It was out of, I believe, 12 coaches? 12 to 16? No. Yeah, it was 12 because it was supposed to be 24 coaches, 12 each one, so it should be 12, yeah. And I had first pick, which was actually kind of good and bad. I always say that first pick is always a good and bad pick. I would honestly say top five is a mix of being good and bad. It's good because you're guaranteed to get something really strong, really good for your team to start off a draft. But then you're gonna be waiting like a lot of picks. Like after I made my first pick, I had to wait at least like 20 some picks to get my next two. So it was definitely difficult. So with the original draft, I had Dragapult, Cinderace, Mandibuzz, Snorlax, Clefable, Politoed, Drapion, Poliwrath, Manectric, and Kabuto. So I went with like half rain, half offense, or half rain and half non-rain for a team. And it was very interesting to say the least. Sorry I'm yawning. You already know it's a thriller video when I'm yawning. So with the way I was kind of looking at things here, it was just like I wanted to really force my opponents to have a very kind of have to really kind of predict my draft versus just knowing what my draft was, you know, because I can just go straight up rain and I could just have just a pretty much rain offensive team. But excuse me, and I just think there was a lot of options to go with this team. So but real quick before I explain what I made for drops in terms also of what I made on, there's actually a rule here that we have. It is called the Kamimon rule. Basically, what this rule states is that we will randomly be selected a Pokemon that is not drafted. So any mon that was not drafted is going to be randomized. And each time it is randomized, we will be given that Pokemon. So, for example, in week one, we'll be given 11 Mons total, but the one Mon is random every single time. So, example, I believe something like Melmetal wasn't drafted. I could get randomized and I can have Melmetal, and I gotta use Melmetal for week one because we're gonna get a different Mon every single week. But there's a kick to this rule. This Kamimon has to be brought and used, and if not, at least brought to each of our games every single week. And that is the number one rule. If we do not choose to do that rule, we immediately forfeit the game 3-0. I believe it was. So, big implications there. So, you may think that's a kind of a dumb rule that we have to be forced to use them on. But I mean, would it defeat the purpose of using the rule of this if it didn't have at least some kicker to it? So basically, we draft essentially 10 Mons, and then we get one random Mon that gets added to our team. So we basically have to pick 5 out of our 10 Mons every single week to be brought instead of 6 out of our 10 Mons. So the predictability can actually kind of be different. And again, that one Mon could actually be a bonus to a team, or it could be a crippler to the team. And that just makes you have to really draft around that one Mon with your 10 Mons. So there was that. So the original idea, like I said, I wanted to go with like pieces outside of rain and then kind of like a pseudo rain core. And I actually decided to kind of keep the idea. And the reason why I decided to keep the idea is I want to challenge myself to see if I can try to make rain one pieces to a non-rain team work. because you can draft multiple typings and they can benefit as long as they don't share the main weaknesses and it plays around. Excuse me. Plays around certain things, you know? And that's what I wanted to do. So, like I said, I had first pick overall. And with my first pick, I decided to keep my boy Dragapult, which we are going to. I'm actually going to surprise you guys with the nicknames. I think we're going to keep the nicknames a little bit of a secret this time. I'm actually going to try to be creative with the nicknames and stuff. But we went Dragon Ball, and I think this was no brainer. That had to be the first pick. I barely ever get to use this Pokemon. I have been like, I would say about a 55-45% success rate with this Pokemon. I would say I would slightly partially good with this Mon, but I don't even got a chance to use it. I finished with neutral diff with it, neutral kill death, a little tiny bit of success, a little bit of under success. Like in VGC, I definitely did a terrible job with it and stuff like that. But I think just Dragon Ball overall is a fantastic Pokemon. This thing can go physical, this can go special. It got Dragon Dance sets. It's got even screen sets. If you guys actually remembered back on my old channel and the APM where I used to be in that league, I actually used a light clay Dragon Ball. I believe in the quarterfinals actually. Just because with how fast Dragon Ball is, and depending on what's in front of Dragon Ball can be able to get screens up sufficiently well. There's Willow Hex sets, there's subsets. Like this is just a fantastic mon, man. I think this is one of the best mons in draft league format. And I think it would just be dumb thing of me not to just grab it when I had the opportunity. So I don't know. Yeah, this is great. Also, elite speed right on the first turn, right there as well on the first pick too, which is really good. So, then it was coming down to my second and third pick, and I was actually generally surprised to see this mon lasting. And I'm gonna try to remember the exact order I picked these mons. So, being very in mind, actually, let's just put these mons in order of technically where they were in or in some places. So with my next picked up, I actually technically picked up Manabuzz in round two because I'll have the wheel, so I can just make things seem a little weird that they're in the certain order they are. But I picked up Manabuzz in round two. Manabuzz, for one, is the best Dragon Ball counter in the game, and I'm generally surprised no one went to try to grab this thing up in round two because of the fact that this is a really good Manabuzz counter, and this isn't arguably. I mean, arguably you can say in this type of like 12-man roster you would probably say, it's not really. It's like a 3 or 4. Oh, shit. Around 3 or 4. And you can arguably say this thing is early to a degree, but you gotta think about this. This is one of the best defoggers in the game to have on your team. It's not the greatest defogger, but it's one of the best. It's one of the best users of heavy duty boots with along its great bulk. It's good, reliable defensive mon, and overall, this thing is a very hard hitting Pokemon. This thing hits like a truck. This thing can hit like a truck if put it correctly. I have made weakness policy work on this thing. Got 1 kill with that. But there's so many ways you can make weak armor sets work. This thing is just a really good defensive base, and like with base 80 speed tiers, it can be actually used to kind of take advantage of lower tier speed lap gaps and everything. And just overall, Manabus provided me a really good dark type, and it is the best Dragon Ball answer in the game, which is really, really cool. So I think this is overall it can be a great piece to the team, and I think overall it can really do well for us. And then rounded up in round three was the champion of WC Season 7. I'm pretty sure I'm remembering the seasons right. In Season 7, one of our main kill leaders and one of the main team mons that really came in and helped us, especially against Swampy, if you guys remember that battle. Whew. But I love this mon. It's really good. Out of the few times I've used it, last WC season I used it incredibly well. Hoping to keep on the trend with doing this thing incredibly well as well. This thing gives me technically our second hazard removal with core change. This is a fantastic mon to use heavy duty boots with. The fact that yes, you don't want to run heavy duty boots on this Pokemon every single week, but it's that one Pokemon that can run it every single week and just be perfectly fine with it. Also, really good speed tier in 119, outspeed base 110s and 115, so which is really nice. Just overall a very good Pokemon, and I'm just so excited. Excuse me. I just overall think it's just an amazing mon. I think again, Corchain screens onto our side of the field and hazards away. It's just so good. I just really love this Pokemon. So going into the next set of rounds, weighted rounds, I actually picked up Snorlax Snorlax in this round, I actually kind of surprised that Snorlax lasted as long as it kind of did. Very interesting to say the least. But and the reason why I wanted to go Snorlax originally is because I really like Snorlax, and plus I felt like Snorlax would have been a really good defensive piece with a ice resist for the team with Thick Fat, which I think would have been really cool. So, but I just think at the end of the day, I really wanted Snorlax, but if I wanted committed to Rain, I needed really good Rain pieces to help fit the connection to it. And I really didn't have a ground type, and there was no ground types that would have fit on the Rain team that I would have had. So that's why I went ahead and changed it up to Seismitoad. And originally, I wasn't able to get Seismitoad because one of our opponents, being Carcant, who I think is a person I played before, I don't remember, which is a little upsetting because I would like to remember. Carcant stole it from us in free agency. Right as I was kind of getting the whole idea fixed. But then he realized his budget was a mistake, and then he had to drop it in terms of something else, which was really good for us there. So Seismitoad is a very good Pokemon, especially for the fact that we are going to be, as you can tell, we still with the Rain route. We're going to go Rain. This is a fantastic Rain abuser, but more importantly, this is a very good ground type for the team. It doesn't really play too much as a water type, even though it can play as much as a water type. It plays definitely more towards its secondary typing a little bit more. It's our first Stealth Rocker of the team as well, which is really good. Scythertoad just hits so hard as well. Scythertoad's actually a really good Pokemon. In Rain, in Rain is just gonna put in the work. It's got access to things like Power Whip and Grass Knot, so it can just really be the ultimate Rain Pokemon. I definitely expect this thing to be more towards a Swift Swim abuser than a kind of just offensive mon, defensive mon, unless we need it for certain weeks to be defensive. I really like this Pokemon. I think it's gonna be really good, and I know I've used Seismitoad before. I've dropped it a couple of times. I only used it one time, and I was only took over 18. But this is my first time officially drafting Seismitoad and hopefully keeping Seismitoad on the team from the start round. And I cannot believe this lasted round 5, guys. This I words cannot describe how I am surprised that Clefable made it round 5. Round 5 in this league. And I had to take it. If I was not taking Clefable this round, if anyone had the opportunity to do so, they would have taken it again. And as you guys remember in my track record, I have been waiting forever to use this thing since Gen 7. I have not used this thing at all in Gen 8, not even Gen 4 yet. But this is a phenomenal Pokemon, man. This is one of, if not, and I've always said this, and I still stay true to the word here. I honestly believe Clefable is the best fairy type in Draft League, just for how the versatility it is with being just a defensive piece, with unaware, just a defensive piece in general, a second stealth rocker, an annoying mon, and also just a very good setup mon in offense. It's just a setup. It's just a good mon offensively as well with Life Orb Magic Guard. It can set up Trick Room, which is also really cool for the team as well. And just overall, is a really good mon. It gets access to Teleport, Wish. It's a cleric also as well. I just think overall, Clefable was a really good Pokemon, and I'm just so excited I got it. So happy I was able to get this, man. It was such a really good Pokemon. I will spoil something here. I actually messed up in drafting. I forgot to grab Tokenimaru, which was actually going to be Steel and Electric type, because now Fairy typing's a little issue against my team. I only have technically one resist, and that's Cinderace, and Cinderace doesn't really like that. I mean, I have another resist, but depending again on the sets, that resist is not that good either, so. Excuse me. So, I'm just super happy to have Clefable, man. I'm so happy to have it. Now we get into the options here. I was going Rain this route. I was going Rain now, this kind of turnaround right here. And Politoed, I think just fit the bill. What I want. Oh wait, no. Yeah, it was Snorlax and yeah, I think it was Politoed. Or was it? No, it was. It doesn't matter. It gets swapped anyway. But Politoed is still, and I will always agree with my good brother Zach here, the Weather Gamer. Politoed, best rain setter. Now here's why I do agree. Where some people say, Pelipper has stronger Merrics. Yes, I understand that Pelipper will only have the one main weakness being electric. Politoed has two main weaknesses in electric and grass. Blah, 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 blah. But here's the thing about Pelipper. Pelipper sucks. It's a toilet bird. But the only good thing about Pelipper is the fact that it gets Hurricane and it uses Hurricane and Rain. That's all it's good for. And the thing is, Pelipper can't even use as like a Damp Rock Pokemon because of the fact it runs Destroy Scarf all the time because of how slow it is. It's just so annoying. But here's the thing with Polito. Polito can really do something. It's got a lot of things going for it besides being just a normal rain setter. It can be very offensive with Choice Specs. There's a very good diverse move pool. Again, it's also a really good mon to use Rest Sleep Talk with. You got Parasong trapping sets. It's just a really good mon overall, and I really, really love Polito. And I'm super excited for Polito this season. I'm really hoping to do something this season. Now, and it was either flip flopped around, but this next pick was actually Drapion, and I'm really kicking myself for not keeping Drapion. I'm really, 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 really wish I could have kept Drapion for this pick here, and actually, technically speaking, that right here. So we'll just do that. But up next is Quillfish, and Quillfish I think was really good still. It gave me another mon with access to Swift Swim, and I know you're thinking like, wait, why would you grab this for Swift Swim? That's kind of dumb. Well, this is a thing I think a lot of people are going to sleep on. I think people sleep on the fact that Quillfish is a Swift Swim abuser. And I think this is the time we can try to show off Quillfish and how good it can really be. Not only that, Quillfish works outside of range for the fact that it gives me a Spike Stacker, it gives me a Toxic Spikes user, it grounded Poison type, and an Intimidate mon, which I think is really, really good. I just think, like, overall, Quillfish just fit for both not only a great rain team supporter, but also a really good piece to support the team in terms of hazards. I really think that Quillfish is going to be a really good pickup here, and I think we can really do some work with Quillfish this season. I'm hoping Quillfish does a little bit good, and this is like, I think my second or first ever real time drafting Quillfish, so very interested to see how well it does for us this season. Actually, I think it was the other way around again. Maybe, I don't know. Anyways, up next, I grabbed my electric type as I did not have an electric type, especially an electric type that can really take advantage of rain. But I really needed to get an electric type that had electric immunity on the team. And I think one of the best ones I had left was Manectric. Manectric gave me a base 105 speed tier, which I think was really, really good for the team. Because outside of the rain element, I only had two mons that were really fast, so I needed a third mon that was going to be blistering fast. And decently, that's what Manectric does. Manectric also has decent coverage. It does get access to things like Snarl, gets access to things like Flamethrower, Hyper Voice. We can make throw spray sets potentially work, potentially. Which, actually, I just thought about that idea. That'd be really cool, actually. We get Volt Switch for pivoting. There's sub switcheroo sets. There's Charge Beam sets and everything like that. We can do some Magnet Rise. This can set up Rain Dance for itself and for the team if I really wanted to. I just think overall this is a really good mon here, and I think this is my first real time actually using regular Manectric. I've used Mega Manectric in the past, only a few times maybe, and not to the greatest, but this was the first time ever using regular Manectric, so I'm really looking forward to this, and I'm hoping to have some fun with it. Up next was regular Pidgeot. Now I know what you're all thinking, like this is something you would never ever see drafted, and I agree with you. This is a Pokemon that should never really be ever drafted in a regular format. But the main reason I went with this mon was for the fact that I do have rain, and this thing does get access to Hurricane, gets access to all the things that Mega Pidgeot usually gets. This gives me a base 101 speed tier, so I get another mon that's relatively fast outside of rain. And I just think this was a mon. I also didn't have any mons that really took advantage of using Hurricane to a full degree. And I think overall this was a great pickup. I think this is going to be very interesting. It's going to be very interesting to see how many games I actually bring this thing. But I felt, you know what? I needed to replace a Swift Swimmer that I originally had with a Rain Abuser still. And I did that technically with each half of them being a full one. And I think Pidgeot's going to be great. It's going to be very interesting to see how we use this season. And my last one was Kabutops. And I really, really wanted Kabutops back, man. You guys remember, Kabutops was pretty much the MVP of our team in RGBL when we had that rain team. Kabutops went in and he destroyed everything in his path. But I ultimately went against it and went with Ludicolo, aka Ludicolo. The main reason why was mostly grass typing. Grass typing was very important because I didn't have enough ground to switch in, even though I don't really think ground types are going to be able to come against my team, which I think is really, really good because that opens the door for Manectric to really be able to do a lot of more things in the team because Manectric is horrible by pretty much almost every single ground type of the game. There are certain grounds that could still come to rain teams, and there are still certain grounds that could still come in general against my team overall. But most of the time, all the grounds are basically neutralized. They cannot be brought against my team, which is the fact that my team has just really good ground resist and ground answers, which is also really, really good. So overall, I'm really hyped for this team. I'm really excited to try my balance in doing a half rain team and then half, or I mean, it's kind of more towards a rain team than it is an actual like mix. But I'm really excited for this team. I hope I can do well. Obviously, you guys will know what the Kamimon will be every single week once we do our team builders. I'll go over the kind of what exactly this mon's going to do and why we have it for this matchup. Again, I explained before, if I haven't already, this Kamimon has to be brought every single week. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. And it is a rule. If we do not do that, then we break the rule and we lose the game. But excited for the season. Hope you guys are too. Like, comment, share, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Until next time, guys.